And we move on to the next big talking point here, and we continue with our constant non-stop focus on the vaccine development, the preparations for distribution, production, and of course the immunization. That's the biggest focus right now. Every day here on Mirror Now, we get you the latest update. And the world's largest vaccine maker, Serum Institute of India, has sought the government's approval for emergency use authorization of its COVID vaccine, the Covishield. The vaccine is being developed in collaboration with the University of Oxford and the British pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. Now, with this, the Serum Institute, viewers, has become the first Indian institute and company to seek emergency use authorization for the COVID vaccine. Pfizer has already applied here in India. They've already got permission in UK to use their vaccine. What does this mean for us? How soon can it start rolling out? Remember, just a couple of days ago, Prime Minister Modi said that within a few weeks, we will have the vaccine there for people. Let's say good evening to the experts who are joining us right now. Dr. Virendra Singh Chauhan, Emeritus Professor of the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotech, with us this evening, and Mr. Raghavan Vardarajan, biophysicist and professor of the Indian Institute of Science, joining us right now. In fact, I just also want to clarify one thing, which is that the Serum Institute has already begun the production. So they already have some amount of doses which are ready. Mr. Raghavan Vardarajan, good evening to you. In fact, before that, let me just go across to Dr. Virendra Singh. Dr. Virendra Singh, good evening to you. Thank you for being with us. How soon from here on can we see the vaccine hit the ground running? What's the process for our viewers to also understand?
So the processes are quite straightforward. It will differ from country to country. And the case in point is, while the vaccine has been approved in UK, in fact, today the first lot has landed in London, and the immunization with Pfizer vaccines will begin. The same vaccine producer has submitted data to FDA, and the meeting will take place on the 10th. So USA would look at the same vaccine data produced by the same company, but will wait until the 10th. Likewise, in India, when you say the company will apply for nod for rolling out vaccines, there will be a process. And I just want to let everybody assure that these processes are very firmed up processes. These are not subjective decisions. These decisions are taken very objectively. So committees which have experts, which have no stakes in or no conflict of interest with the people who produce or design vaccines, look at the data. All of this is data-driven. Safety data, efficacy data. So to answer your question, yes, as more and more vaccine produce their phase 3 data, we know that most of them are safe. Many of them are safe. As phase 3 data gets together, then they would apply for the DCGI for approval and post-approval. And approval is not today, you apply it, tomorrow you have approval. I just gave you example of USA. On the 10th of December, they'll decide, the committee will decide on Pfizer vaccine. On 17th of December, FDA will decide on Moderna data. So you would see in India, I cannot imagine many more companies will not apply for DCGI approval. And as your channel has been putting it together daily basis, yes, and I would say more than many, but many more people will come. In fact, some of the vaccines which are waiting in the wings, Novavax, Sanofi, GSK, Merck, all this will begin to show up in 3-4 months' time.
Okay, in fact, what's also interesting is that we are betting bigger on the vaccines which are being tried out and under development here in our country. For example, the Serum Institute, we're given to understand as per ICMR, they have already manufactured 40 million doses. Mr. Raghavan Vardarajan, how should one read that bit of information? Is that what all companies are doing? They've already started manufacturing this vaccine in large numbers to be rolled out as soon as possible?
I mean, I only know what I read in the newspapers, and so that's what Serum is doing.
Yes.
And I don't know about all the other companies.
So 40 million doses, what would that mean for India? And, again, is this the best suitable one so far that we know of?
Well, it's the one that has received this emergency authorization in the UK. So both this as well as the Pfizer vaccine have received authorization, and several vaccines, the Moderna also has good phase 3 data. So there are several things that are in process, and as Dr. Chauhan has said, there are other ones waiting in the wings also, which will, I'm sure, have good data very soon from phase 3 trials.
Dr. Chauhan, you wanted to make a point? Go ahead, please.
No, I said actually Serum took this decision many months back after the phase 1 safety data started coming out on AstraZeneca vaccine, and this chimp virus-based vaccine actually has been in humans for many other diseases, other vaccines. So Serum actually stick their neck out. They decided to start producing this vaccine much before. So you say 40 million, my information was more than 40 million, but they are ready. They are ready to roll it out. But as I said, the data will be assessed by expert committees. So the viewers should always feel it's not that you make an application today and tomorrow you'll get nod, and the day after tomorrow you'll start getting nod. These processes are very firmed up in India. They are robust processes. So it should take its own time. If it happens quickly, so much the better. But it'll go through a process.
Yes, in fact, we've seen that the entire process itself of vaccine research and development has been so fast-tracked, as far as COVID is concerned, that one would assume that even for the emergency use nod, it will be fast-tracked. But what does this mean? Emergency, authorization for emergency use, Mr. Raghavan Varadarajan, what does that mean? How is it different from a regular approval?
Well, it means that I assume that it can be used in cases where there is a real need for it, not for a rollout for, everybody. Because until there is complete phase 3 data which is available to everyone, or at least to those granting a general approval, it will not be available for everybody. In any case, because of the number of people who will ultimately require a vaccine, there has to be a priority in which people are accorded access to the vaccine. So it's certainly not the case that everyone will get it anyway, even when the vaccines are approved immediately.
Correct. Well, not for several months is what most experts tell me, that it's going to take a while before it comes to other people and to the common man. You'll start with the priority groups, you'll start with the healthcare workers, our frontline workers, then you'll start with the vulnerable groups, those who need it the most, because the idea is to try and save lives, and those who are more vulnerable to the infection, those will be the ones who get it first. But Dr. Virendra Singh Chauhan, the other question that I wanted to ask you is, this is just based the interim data. So to clarify to our viewers, even when we say you're getting the nod for emergency use, it's only for a specific set of people and not for everybody, right?
Well, that will not be the absolute correct interpretation. It is what we need to realize, all of us, that we are in a very emergent or emergency situation. This happened for the first time when the Ebola vaccine was being rolled out when epidemic took place in Western Africa. So this is the time when vaccines are being developed, and at the same time, the disease is still out there. And then you are now going to immunize people against it. So this is an emergency position. And that's why this is not, as I said, I'm at pains to explain to everyone that safety of the vaccine is the utmost important. And that no matter how fast you do stuff, that is never compromised. After that, the phase 3 data that has come, Yes, of course, phase 3 data started some time back. What the agencies will have to take a call that the data that they have seen and the time point or the readout of the vaccine that a given vaccine manufacturer or promoter is claiming is the data fits into that claim. And currently the claim is, and this needs to be, this is a subtle difference. What does the vaccine do? So far that we have seen the data, they say that it protects you from severe disease, protects you from going to the hospital and probably to ventilator, and finally the number of deaths will be reduced. Whether it protects you from getting the viral infection per se, we don't know. That needs to be found out. That's the whole point of the large trial that will take place. So let me just quickly add, the trials of the vaccine, emergency vaccine usage, which will happen now or started happening in UK, we need to watch very carefully. So surveillance post-vaccination in such situation as we are in is become of crucial importance. So you watch, because now you're going to the public, okay, health worker, but still you are out in the field. You're no longer in a confined spaces of controlled trials. So surveillance will be very important. We learn from this on daily basis. I think you will hear this on weekly basis, what happened to people who got immunized. So finally, I want to wrap up this comment by saying that we still do not know, and nobody's claimed that this vaccine will protect you from not getting infection. So what it might do, or we hope what it will do, that it at least, of course, you don't get severe disease, hopefully. But the disease you might get, the load of virus will be so low that hopefully undetectable, that you're not shedding virus like an unvaccinated person would. My urge to all viewers would be that if as and when we get vaccinated, please don't take off your masks. There is nothing to suggest that we should remove our masks just because we are getting vaccinated.
That's a very important point, Dr. Chauhan, that you have raised here. In fact, we've also been trying to get more and more voices on, this aspect, Raghavendra Vardarajan, that as far as the COVID vaccine so far across the world is concerned, most of them are talking about, treating or stopping severe cases. There is still a likelihood that people could get infected after the shot?
I think it depends on how long after the shot. I think the protection that has been seen in a short duration after the shot is pretty high for the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, and somewhat lower but still reasonable for the Chadox vaccine, which Serum Institute is making.
Well, I'm completely out of time. Thank you, both of you panelists and gentlemen, for joining us and, with your insights. In fact, just let me tell our viewers, this is the latest update that's coming in, and our reporters has confirmed this, that even Bharat Biotech has sought from DCGI the emergency use authorization for its indigenously developed COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin. But I would say we have to step back, take a deep breath and understand what this means, because Bharat Biotech's just about still in its phase 3 trial. They would only have very limited interim data so far, which they will now give to the regulator to get the approval. Right now, it's about getting more and more options out there for emergency use. It's still nowhere close to end of the pandemic or end of our problems when it comes to coronavirus. Let's keep that in mind, please. Pfizer, Serum Institute, and now sources seem to suggest Bharat Biotech has also sought permission for emergency use with the DCGI.